Every warrior walks a different path. Samurai, the path of discipline. Ronin, the path of independence. Ninja, the path of strategy. Zen monk, the path of wisdom. Shogun, the path of power. But today, we explore the path of the Zen monk. The exact second your internal chemical mood dips, you surrender. A minor wave of anxiety strikes your chest, a difficult professional conversation unbalances your fragile ego, or ambient boredom creeps into your afternoon, and you immediately flee. You raid your dark kitchen pantry, violently tear open crinkling plastic wrappers, and gorge on cheap processed junk food. You stuff grease, sugar, and synthetic gratification down your throat until your mind feels numb, bloated, and safe. You call this comforting yourself, managing your high stress, or simply taking a necessary mental break. This is a pathetic, catastrophic lie. You are the emotional drifter, a broken modern archetype completely enslaved by your volatile neurochemistry, suffering from absolute emotional immaturity and a deep failure of discipline. The supreme philosophical paradox of your existence is devastating. By frantically running from short-term emotional discomfort, you're actively manufacturing a lifetime of unyielding psychological torment. You believe you're protecting your internal peace, but you're actually turning your body into a graveyard for your sovereign potential. The unresolved mystery of your systematic decay is not the cheap substances you consume, but the silent, terrifying entity that pulls your chemical strings from the dark. An entity whose horrific face will be fully unmasked by the very end of this path. In the severe collective ecosystem of the feudal Zen monastery, an unmanaged mood was treated as an infection. Warlords and monastic masters knew a hard truth. A mind governed by passing impulses is a weapon waiting to be turned against its owner. Step inside the high-altitude temple structures of Mount Hiei during the freezing Sengoku period. Feel the biting, sub-zero mountain wind slicing clean through raw, coarse linen robes. Smell the heavy, bitter scent of burning cedar incense, wet floorboards, and the cold, unpolished iron of monastic naginata staffs. The monks sat in perfect geometric rows for 18 continuous hours in absolute bone-chilling cold. Their legs throbbed with agony. Their stomachs were empty hollows of pure starvation. If a monk moved a single muscle or let his focus drift because of a passing feeling, the heavy wooden keisaku staff struck his bare shoulders with medical precision, shattering the illusion of comfort. Within this brutal environment, the elite monastic caste survived through the mechanical implementation of a precise protocol stack. Kenzen Ichi, Gyoji, and Zanshin. First, they executed Kenzen Ichi, the absolute unity of body and mind. They realized that every physical action directly dictates the state of the spirit. They did not view hunger or cold as emotional crises, but as cold objective data to be integrated into their form. Second, they enforced Gyoji, continuous, relentless daily practice that operates entirely independent of temporary motivation. Gyoji means your routine is a sacred law that your passing feelings are completely unauthorized to change. Third, they maintained Zanshin, sustained, unbroken awareness that monitors internal chaos without ever reacting to it. The mechanics of the system required 3 rigid execution steps. First, the total isolation of the passing emotional impulse. Second, the absolute refusal to seek immediate physical escape. And third, the redirection of the raw internal energy into immediate, deliberate form. Through this structural stack, the Zen monk turned the vacuum of discomfort into a lethal weapon of strategic clarity. Your frantic urge to binge and seek instant gratification is a calculated, cowardly retreat from the raw reality of effort. The moment a task requires high cognitive strain or emotional friction, your primitive amygdala panics, triggers a false alarm of distress, and demands you run toward a cheap dopamine hit to bury the guilt. Every single time you open a snack out of boredom or escape a difficult conversation into a substance, you reward your internal coward. You actively hardwire your nervous system to prefer submissive comfort over dominant mastery. To shatter this cycle of decay, you must implement Kenzen Ichi. Force your physical form into absolute alignment. Starve the impulse. Still the chaos. Stop. Lift your eyes from your slouched posture. Do not look away. Exactly 50% of this transmission has unfolded, and your highly distracted, chemically dependent mind is already frantically clawing for an escape route, itching to swipe away to find a mindless piece of digital static to numb the sting of this mirror. You hate this confrontational baseline because it tears away the academic, victimized alibis you use to hide your utter lack of discipline. You despise this quiet stillness because it exposes your total lack of an internal core. Sit perfectly upright. Endure the burn of your own thoughts. If you close this video right now, you publicly declare that your passing moods own your entire life. Confront the rot. The ultimate permanent cost of your emotional drifting is complete psychological erasure. A man who cannot master his own neurochemistry is not a sovereign individual. He is just a dead leaf, blown helplessly by the wind of changing circumstances. The monster pulling your strings is your own addiction to a painless existence. The Zen monk did not ask the winter if it felt ready to freeze. They mastered their environment by mastering the space between stimulus and response. Draw your boundary line like a razor-sharp jade blade across your daily routine. Erect the barrier of Gyoji around your attention. Let the false cravings burn themselves out in the silence of your absolute restraint and step out of your comfortable domestic cage. Annihilate the impulse. Every warrior walks a different path. Samurai, the path of discipline. Ronin, the path of independence. Ninja, the path of strategy. Zen monk, the path of wisdom. Shogun, the path of power. Which one are you? Comment below.